We got the new trunk rack installed. We're ready to install our new trunk. I'm going to show you exactly how to install the trunk on your new Yamaha Roadstar trunk rack. Now the first thing you're going to need to do is figure out the position where you want your trunk to sit on your rack. So just take your trunk, place it on your rack. You can measure from side to side underneath to make sure you have the same distance. Make sure the trunk is setting straight, so when you stand back and look at it, it's sitting on the bike straight. Now to figure out the best positioning for your new trunk is to set it on your rack, have your wife or girlfriend sit on the bike. You can adjust it back or forth, whichever is more comfortable to them. I'm going to go ahead and measure. I've got 4 inches on this side of my trunk, and I've got 4 inches on the other side of my trunk. Now I'm ready to go ahead and mark my holes for my trunk. Okay, once you get the trunk aligned the way you want it, carefully open your trunk. Now just take a marker, mark those holes. Close your trunk and then set it to the side. You're going to need metal bits. These are 1/8 inch steel, so it's pretty strong metal. So get a really good bit when you're doing this. Now you want to determine the size drill bit we're going to need for the bolt. So you just hold it up to your bits. You want some play. So this is going to be a 5/16 bit is what we're going to use. But we're going to start with the smaller bit so it's easier to drill through this with the larger bit. So I'm going to start with the 3/16. Now one thing that really helps keep all the metal shavings from falling onto your bike is get yourself a magnet and just sit next to that hole. And what it's going to do is as you're drilling, it's going to catch all the shards. So just set that over your hole, push down. And that catches all your metal shards. It's a pretty neat trick. Now we're going to go with the larger size 5/16 bit. I'm going to clean these metal shavings off this magnet and use it again. Set your magnet next to your hole. Now we can set our trunk on here and see how it lines up. We can readjust the holes with the larger bit if we need to. So now you just slide your trunk around and find the holes. Let's see, those holes. That's it. Perfect. Now we're ready to mount our trunk onto our rack. Now the rack I'm installing is just a cheap eBay rack. They come with these extra brackets. I use that to give me a little more support. But I also found me some 1/2-inch steel spacers. And what this does is it goes underneath this rack, so when I tighten it down it doesn't crush, because this is kind of hollow. It's just kind of like a channel, and it won't crush if I put this in there. Now I'm going to be using, it's black weather stripping glue, and what I do with this is I glue my spacers down so they don't move around when I install my trunk. You don't need much of this. Just line it up with that hole. Some good stuff. I will install this spacer. There's different ways you can install it. You can move it forward, like so. Let's see. Or you can flip it around to where it comes back a little further, like that. Since our trunk's up a little bit, we're going to turn it around the other way, like that, and move your spacers around to where they fit in the channels, and then double check your bolts. Just to line that spacer up. Now, we're going to go ahead and set our trunk on here and bolt it in. Okay, now I'm going to bolt my trunk onto my rack, and if you've watched a previous video where I made a steel plate to go inside this trunk, I'm going to reinstall it. This just gives you extra support. Once you get that first bolt in there, go ahead and put the nut on it. Now you can go ahead and put the remaining 3 bolts in. And now just tighten all your bolts. And don't get them too tight, because you can still smash this plastic. And that's it. You got your trunk installed on your trunk rack. It's super strong. You can pack a lot of weight in your trunk now and don't have any worries on a trip. I hope this video has been helpful. Thanks for watching.